Welcome to Mass Creations, high quality web and software development. Wherever your vision, bring it to life with Mass Creations based in Bury St Edmunds. From web or mobile development to SEO and IT consultancy. Whatever your vision, get in touch with Mass Creations and join the list of companies from Terrace Life to Balm Music to have worked with them. Call today on 07896 904 571. That's 07896 904 571. Or head to masscreations.co.uk and access their 24/7 live chat. Mass Creations, proud partners with Talking Town.
Indicates an important announcement.
Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to the last official Thursday night, technically a Friday night now, match day preview show. We're not going to keep going. There's going to be some stand-in substitute specials, European Championships, all sorts flying around the joint, and we'll be there every step of the way. But thank you for joining me again this evening. Hopefully you can get really active in the chat. We've got a number of topics to get through this evening. That's not the reason probably why we'll stick around, because the season's coming to a close, but the list of things to talk about is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. First of all, let's get some comments in the chat. The GOAT, Colin Plum. If you didn't catch last night, you missed a hell of a night last night with Colin, Graham, the Cruncher, Matt Phillips, and of course, Terry Butcher and Russell Osmond, recounting the anniversary of the 81 UEFA Cup victory, the journey to the final. It was a really good evening. I really enjoyed it. I'll get the thoughts of the two lads this evening, see what they made of it. Owen, not sure what Roberts brings to the table either. Would like Dyer as number 2. Of course, that refers to Gilly. He's gone. We'll get into that a bit this afternoon, a bit this evening rather. I have been emotional all day, devastated, as my Twitter will tell you. Ben Moore, that set some. That caught a few whoppers this afternoon. That was quite a fun time. Ben Moore, good afternoon, good evening. I hope it was well. Some interesting news. Ooh, interesting news. Ball and Blue, evening, Gov. Your show is always amazing, but the UEFA Cup anniversary special with Toby Butcher and Osman was epic. Such a privilege hearing the legends relive their journey in 81. It really was. Yeah, and as I said last night, sometimes there's a time to speak as a host. Other times there's time to sit down, have a beer, and listen. And sadly, I came a little bit too late to enjoy that time, but just listening to the stories and everything else. Joe Dickerson, nice one. Got an hour, bro. Russell, big bag Doritos for this. Great show last night. Colin could talk for England as well. Colin certainly could. Right, we must get on with things because one of our guests, well, he needs to do what Butcher was talking about last night and stay hydrated, and we don't want to let him get too dehydrated. So first of all, let's keep him waiting just a little bit longer. Let's bring in this man. People on the dance floor, people on the dance floor, starting the drum. Adam Flat in the building. There he is.
Evening, mate. How are we? All right?
I'm very well. I love your intro. People on the dance floor starting to drum. So I made it, but I still love it. I sometimes sit here in the evening and just play the intros to myself. I do. I like
with the
Neil's
glow
one as well.
sticks out, lights off.
Absolutely. Adam, how are you, my man? Did you enjoy last night?
Yes, last night was good. I think even my dad got involved last night on the chat. But my dad, my mum watched it as well. Yeah, they were
Really?
both. Yeah, my mum and dad went to most of those games in the 80s, and then my dad went to the final. My mum went to all the home games. So yeah, and my mum, her favourite player was Russell Osman. I think she might still have a poster of him up at her house. She was, he's a dishy
fella,
man. He's a dishy man, isn't he, Russell?
Yeah,
so
yeah, I would say if I'm looking that good at his age, but I'm not looking that good now, so no chance. Very dishy guy, as you say, Joe Dickerson, and God forbid you try and make a tongue-in-cheek joke on Twitter, Martin. How dare you? I know. That's of course referring to the Gilly devastation. Let's round our trio off before we get into the proceedings of the evening. Here's, of course, Mr. TJ. Second appearance towards an intro, but I might do one for next year. Loving the shirt. Talk to us about that shirt. Talk about not the origins, that we don't need to know that, but the story you were telling us off air.
I finally completed my Secret Santa with my partner's family, so I got this on the weekend 5 months after Christmas. So it's Bayern Munich 93 to 95 kit. It's lovely.
Classic. Beautiful top. It's a beautiful top, but you won't be down that in any of our Euro specials, would you? We don't want none of that brought into the Euro specials.
No, I've got my England top ready. Don't worry.
Good, man. Have you got your England top ready, Flatty?
I have my Scotland top on, Martin.
I can listen to it. Next, you'll be telling me what is it? What is it? Your anthem?
The Scottish national anthem is the best national anthem sung in football. Flower of Scotland. Honestly, just go and watch it on YouTube. Far better than God Save the Queen.
It's been such a long time since I heard it at a major tournament. I can't remember what it sounds like. But moving on. TJ, what did you make of our special last night with the two legends? And I don't mean Phillips and Cruncher.
No, it was great, wasn't it? I caught up with it when I was out today doing bits around the house. So, yeah, it was brilliant. Loved the stories of, like you said earlier on, wine and cigars before and after the game. It's brilliant. And I just love the story as well, like of the fans going down to, and like all the away fans on the train just saying, you're going to get nothing out of this. And we go down and stomp them. So it's great.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that was great. Yeah. Hearing the away fans, sort of be confident. But then as Graham was saying, you never thought Town would lose back then. Whereas these days, you sadly don't think they're going to win.
They were talking about two. It could have been like two different teams. It's like two completely different clubs they could be talking about. The one last night and the one that we sadly support at the moment.
Absolutely. Alex says, speaking like England smashed. No, we don't do major tournaments, Alex. We turn up just to go home again. Michael Finch, don't let any Norwich fancy that top, TJ. They'll have a remembrance game. Yes, they did get a result once upon a time against Bayern or something along those lines. Talking about reliving old times. Oh, hang on. Kiwi Tractor Boy. Hi, Gov. My awesome Talking Town hoodies in the post. Can we rename the Cobble Stand the Edge Shed? Great show last night. Oh, I like that one. And the Durrants. Welcome in the Durrants. Right. Going back. Bartosz Białkowski has been named Millwall Player of the Year. I just want to say that. There's no reason for me to say it. Not really a talking point there. I just want to say it. What a great player. How we could do with him now.
Well, we've got a really good goalkeeper, Martin. He came second in the Player of the Year poll, so
yes, let's talk about that then. Nice segue there, my man. You've been working on that one.
I have. Yes.
Thomas Holy came second in the Player of the Year baton tournament, whatever you want to call it. And it was eventually won by 18 appearances, James Wilson. What do we make of this year's Player of the Year award then, Adam?
I mean, I wouldn't have had one personally, but there we go. I suppose the supporters club, went ahead with it anyway. I think if you look, I know you're not a fan of stats, Martin, or sofa score or who scored, but if you look at Ipswich on there, I think James Wilson, I think Mark McGuinness is like averages the best ratings of any of our players this season. But I think if you take the loanies out of it, it's Wilson and Toto, I think, are the two best performers this season. So I suppose it makes sense. But if it was me, I'd have give it to someone who makes the supporters piss boil. So it'd have been someone like Chambers or Andre Dazelle to really, James Norwood. I'd actually given it to Holy actually, and just seen a meltdown online. I think it would have been good. I think the supporters club should have done far more trolling with that. Andre Dazelle or something like that would have been really good.
I'd have given it, TJ. I'd have given it to Norwood in the shape of like a restaurant plate, dinner plate or something. You know, just a proper troll certain fans out there, cruncher, and let them know. What did you make of it?
What, we're not going to give it to Luke Thomas?
Well, no, we're not. No, or
Wait,
Josh Harrop, Josh Harrop. As he's got more red cards than passes. It's like
it had to go to someone central defence. I think like fifth best defence in the league.
Yeah, but 17 games though.
Yeah, I know. Well, it just says I wouldn't have had one at all. I mean, what's the point? Yeah. There's absolutely no point doing it. 40 years of us winning UEFA Cup, and we have to even do something like that. So, yeah, that's enough to make your own piss pot.
Fan should have got it. The 12th man should have got it, and that's us fans. Let's be honest. Lewis Robertson, Nydam, for his hard work to come back from a horrific injury, gave far more than most of the first team. Colin Calm got over the 17-18 games. Bald and Blue, they say holy shit is so apt. Yeah, so not only did James Wilson win it though, TJ, Thomas Holy, who, after all, if I did a match day ticket recap from start to finish, it's just like a Thomas Holy, don't watch this show because nobody seems to have a good word about him, but he came second.
I don't get it. Did his family?
Oh, he doesn't either.
Who voted in this poll? Like, how many people voted? Is it
probably him?
Wilson Holy families who voted in this? I don't get it. He's got the time to do it this season, so yeah.
Who did?
I voted for Baggett. To be fair, that's why I did.
As did Thomas. Yeah, I didn't vote at all. I was like, it's just what a waste of my time. The same way they've been a waste of my time all year. I was like, just no. Michael Finch, Holy would have got it when they would have awarded it to him. He would have dropped it. No, he never would have come off his line to get onto the stage. Jason Clayton, Wilson, NCL best defensive combination this season. So give it Toto then. I want to know why Toto wasn't given more love than that one, because he's been a colossus today this year. A real.
Do you not think it's ironic, Martin, that they're going to give the Player of the Season award to someone on Sunday, who on Monday is probably going to get told to seek alternative employment?
Fingers crossed. That
he's the Player of the Award. He's the Player of the Award for the season, James. But I'm sorry, you're gone. You're out the door.
Yeah,
that's it. Game over.
Yeah, that's where we're at the moment, isn't it? Really, let's be brutally honest. Nick didn't vote either. ITFC voted Tommy Smith as a tribute in a way. I like that. I like this. Alex Kloss is a bit strong. Well, no, if we're saying like Holy finished second because of clean sheets, well, I mean, you got to give the defence a big shout of that. And Toto has played a bigger part, if not the biggest, in all of it. Equally, some of the goals conceded have also been down to Toto and Ciala. AFC Wimbledon suddenly springs to mind. Then Stephen Ward, but he's gone now. Talking about people that have gone, TJ, my boy, Gilly. Give it Gilly to end of season. He didn't even make it to end of season. He's gone.
Well, how much did we all know about him until he took over under Lambert? It's like he's just popped up and he seems a lovely guy, but move on.
Great guy, Gilly.
He seems all right, but I wish him luck. But it's just let Cook do what he wants to do. Get his new team in.
He was a well sought after coach. Norwich really liked him. I know they was really highly thought of there, and a number of players came through under him. Is he the fall guy, Adam? Are we treating Matt Gill as like the fall guy here when really none of the coaching staff from Cook downwards, including Lambert, should really have any credit in their bank?
No, I mean, is he the? I mean, if you listen to Kieran Dyer the other night, it sounds like he didn't have an awful lot to do with Paul Lambert. He made a bit of a sort of barbed comment, didn't he, about Lambert and being on the outside. So is Matt Gill the last of the Paul Lambert regime to, face the chop? I mean, to be honest, it's not unusual for new managers to come in and bring their own backroom staff in. But it's going to be interesting, though, now, because I think a lot of the people Cook worked with previous clubs are all in alternative employment. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what he does moving forward, because obviously we need an assistant, goalkeeping coach. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, I wish Matt Gill well. I hope he goes on and does, something good.
He will.
It gets a decent club.
Yeah, I think he will. TJ, is it time, as many fans saying, clean slate for Cook? And if it's a clean slate, is that all of the coaching staff that he didn't bring with him, or is that just the ones that we don't remember fondly as players?
Who else is left? Right, who else is left?
Yeah, I'm not saying names.
Yeah, but
if I speak,
I think a clean slate's absolutely fine. And same with the players, the senior players, and the coaching staff, all associated with this slump that we're in. I think just a fresh start will do well to good. So yeah, best of luck to everyone who's left, but move on.
Yeah, no, it was always inevitably on the cards. I think he's a great coach. I think depending on where this journey goes with the owners and Cook, whether or not the club looks back and goes, "Oh, wasn't he in charge of? Wasn't he? Oh, that's Matt Gill." Oh, or they don't mind. Gubby's not having Dyer one bit. I'll talk to you about that on Sunday. That's all I'm going to say on that one. I'll save the fireworks for you, Crunch, because I know you like Kieran. Ben Moore McGrill, Dyer, Nash is on the 23s manager. I think that's probably more sentiment talking there, don't you, Adam? Then,
well, they're friends, aren't they? Or Cook and McGrill. So I don't know. And would John McGrill not fancy another crack at management? I mean, he got Colchester United into the playoffs, didn't he, last season? So would he not fancy another job, top job? But then I suppose you've been out of work for a long time, if the Ipswich assistant manager role comes up, I suppose he's a bit of a ledge down here, anyhow, John McGrill. So he'd take it, but I don't know. I think that's going to be quite interesting to see what Cook does with his backroom staff, nearly as much as obviously the players we bring in, as to who he sort of has around him. I'm quite interested to see how that plays out.
Would you give it to many fans after the interview Tuesday? We're saying Kieran Dyer, TJ. Where were you on Kieran Dyer as Cook's number 2?
That was a good interview, and he came across very well. It's just we don't know what he wants, to be honest, because there's talk of him becoming our manager at one point. So are his aspirations higher than that? Is he just going to feel like he's restricted by what he can do, or is he just seeing out the season, then see what comes in the summer? So I certainly think he'll be a good head around the place. Whether he's assistant manager ready, I'm not sure. Probably a coach, certainly.
Yeah, he's been. Cook was saying today he'll be around the first team for sure next year. He'll probably. I see him more stepping into Gilly's role, Adam. But would you be interested in if how would you feel if Dyer was main number 2?
I'd have no issue with it. I think Dyer alluded to it himself that he's still got quite a lot to learn, didn't he? He made the reference that the weeks he's been working with Paul Cook with the first team, he's learned more in those few weeks than he did in however many years he's been coaching. So I think he acknowledges that he's only just starting now on this journey into coaching, into management. So I think being involved with the first team is probably the next step for him. Maybe assistant might be a bridge too far for him, but I think being in and around the first team, being obviously coaching, but as he said in his interview, obviously having a voice. He doesn't just want to put the cones out, doesn't want to put the bibs out or whatever. He wants to actually coach. He wants his voice listened to. If he sees something that he doesn't like, he wants to know that Paul Cook's going to listen. So I think it would be good to have him around the first team, but I think Paul Cook will be looking for somebody that he knows. He's been in the game a long time as his assistant. I think he'll be looking for an experienced head for that role.
Do you think from Cook's point of view that if he has someone so high profile from the club at that position, then a lot of pressure is going to be on him? If he doesn't do well, then he's got Kieran in the wings waiting to step up. Is there going to be an extra bit of pressure on him? Does he need it? Probably not.
No. No, yeah. I think right. I think the pressure will dictate maybe someone he can trust. I just look at us tactically, and yeah, players are crap, but tactically, the last 10 weeks we've not been at it. We've been a bit inept in places. I don't see Dyer on the bench giving Cookie what he needs. You speak to guys from Wigan. Liam Richardson was huge, always in his ear, always tweaking, always this, that. I just don't see it from Dyer, and I don't think he's ready for it. And I just feel, if you're saying, Matt Gill was part of the old regime and it's been flat and it's been bad, well, technically Lambert brought in Dyer. And we've not been great either the last 10 weeks. Like, you're only a big fan of Dyer because of his ex-playing ability. And great players don't make great coaches. I've just not seen anything to suggest he should be number 2.
It's been a bit of a Frankenstein's monster of a backroom staff, though, isn't it? You think Paul Cook comes in with Gary Roberts, who's never coached before. This is his first foray into coaching. He's got Matt Gill and he's got Jimmy Walker. And then obviously Walker goes, and then he brings in the academy goalkeeper. Obviously Matt Gill's been let go now. Kieran Dyer's been promoted from the youth team. So it's a bit of a mess in it behind the scenes. I wonder what is going on down there at the training ground. And I think I read somewhere that Gary Roberts has got to go away this summer and actually do his badges, hasn't he? I think I read somewhere. So
yeah,
it's a bit of a mess in it from that perspective. So I think, get Sunday done. Paul Cook gets all his guys in that he wants, his trusted lieutenants. If he wants to promote Dyer to the first team picture, great. Who knows? I mean, do you know what? Nothing would surprise me anymore if they told Kieran to seek employment elsewhere. I really wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't.
No, well, we just don't know, do we? But talking about players coming in, we've had a transfer link this week. That sent the cat amongst the pigeons. Martin Waghorn has been linked with Town. Where do you both sit on that? TJ, you go kick us off. What do you think about the Martin Waghorn transfer rumours?
I think it's a year or two too late, really. I don't know if he'll do a good job in League One. He's not done a great deal recently for Derby, but they're a basket club of a case anyway. So if he can still assist and he wants to play out in the wide positions in Cook's 4-2-3-1, then great. But I don't see it. I think he was a bit more of a focal point for us at times. He kind of switched with Garner, and I'm not sure he's the right fit for us at this time.
Okay. Adam?
I'm not sure about Waghorn. I mean, I think he's infinitely better than anything we've got at the moment, to be fair, but that isn't difficult, is it? It's the way he left, and I think the subsequent comments that he's made in sort of previous interviews that he always saw Ipswich as a stepping stone have probably soured his relationship a little bit with the fan base. Look, I'm be honest, I don't care how we get out of League One next season. If we have to maybe bring in a few mercenaries to help us do that, then so be it. I mean, I think in terms of longevity and forward planning, I think we could do that when we're in the Championship. But the here and now, short term, the club needs to get out of League One as quickly as possible. If that means we might, we have to buy a couple of, maybe aging pros that have got some quality about them, then so be it. I'm not asked about that really, to be honest with you. But I mean, I wouldn't be too disappointed if they signed him. But I think we should be looking for younger, personally. But I wouldn't be averse to signing him.
No, and I don't think Waghorn coming in means you're not going to look for a younger player.
No.
I think he's maybe not Waghorn directly, but the Waghorn, the player, fits the recruitment policy that Ashton has done elsewhere at Bristol City, in the sense of you bring younger players in, let's say a Pigott, and you bring in an experienced player from above. So you're not just doing what Paul Hurst did and chucking Caden Jackson up 2 levels and saying you're our number 1 striker. You've got a little bit of security there in a player that can play a little bit. I can't understand why fans want James Norwood, TJ, as the number 3 striker, but then turn their noses up at Martin Waghorn. Like, we're talking night and day here with strikers.
Yeah, again, it comes back to the system of what we want to play, and it's Norwood is going to play that focal point, and that's something we need to be looking at. I don't see Waghorn as being one of the supporting cast behind him, so I just don't see where he fits in. I don't see his age fitting into what we want to do. he's arguably on the way down in his career, and we want people motivated on the way up. So that's probably one of the biggest factors. Do you see Martin Waghorn thinking, yeah, I'm going to go do a job at Ipswich now. I can really put my heart into this. I just don't see it personally.
I don't know. It's an interesting question there, Adam.
I don't know. I don't know what he's thought about it. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, he's out of contract, and he gets offered a deal, and then he has to weigh it up. I suppose he knows the area and things like that. So, I mean, a British Sombalonga that Bold and Blue has put there would be great. But I mean, has he had injury problems in the past, British Sombalonga? Because I haven't really heard his name much. I think again, in terms of recruitment, we've got to be really careful about, as good as a Sombalonga is at championship level, and probably would be excellent at League One. If he's only going to play 5-7 games or whatever, and then spend the rest of the time injured, move on. We need players that are robust and rigid, I think, next season. But Waghorn, I mean, he could play in any of those roles. He could play as a striker up top. He could play in the wide roles. He could probably play in the number 10 role. Very good set pieces. I wouldn't be adverse to it. I wouldn't, but no, I think Cook will probably be looking. He might be looking elsewhere, and also as well wages. I mean, how much is he on at Derby? I reckon he's on a tidy sum, I would imagine, at Derby. So he'd have to take a pretty big wage cut to come down here, and we've got that.
Sounds like it would anyway,
60%. Yeah, we've got that 60% turnover thing to contend with, haven't we, next year? So.
Well, and the Ed Sheeran thing, which we'll get onto in a bit later on, that's going to help that no end, really, isn't it? Because that's going to be huge. But if Ipswich Town is your club or one of the clubs you're being rumoured with, you have to be expecting a pay cut anyway, because your career, as TJ said, it's on the downward spiral or trajectory, or you're coming towards the other end of your career. I don't know. I see the signing as an experienced head that can help guide young players, can bring a bit of quality, because not only does he bring goals, Waghorn, he brings ability to deliver a good ball. We've seen that countless times. I actually view him more to player behind the striker than the one up front. I think if you look at the backup under McCarthy, him and Garner was more of your Norwood focal point, and Waghorn would often play as that 10 and drop in and play. And I like him there, and I don't think many teams could cope with him.
No, I mean, just to comment on what Liam Wing said there about why we're looking at frees, we've now got money available. I think you mentioned this, Martin, the other day. Just because there's going to be a lot of players for free, or they might be out of contract, doesn't necessarily mean they're poor players. I think there's a misconception maybe amongst the fan base that if we're going after players that are available for free, that they're no good and we're shopping in the bargain basement again. That's not the case. Obviously, clubs had to cut their cloth accordingly because of COVID, didn't they? They weren't offering big deals for players. You're not going to get tied up to the deal that we ended up getting tied up to with, say, an Emir Hughes, where you're in for 4 years of a player. Clubs were only giving out year deals for certain players because they haven't had any supporters. They've had no income for the best part of a year. So there'll be a lot of good players available next season for free. We don't need to go and spend tons of money, I don't think, to put together a decent side. That's not to say we shouldn't, but I don't necessarily think that we have to go out and spend millions of pounds on players to build a decent squad at this level.
Yeah. And he's 31. He's not like he's 44 or, coming out of retirement a year removed or whatever. I don't buy what, Mike Brown's kind of indicating here, where he's saying it's going the whole Hongmin, the 2000 squad out. Well, no, because they're going to be very old. 31
well, Mike Brown suggested Mullin at Cambridge, who has had a good season in League Two. But let's be honest, played for Tranmere last year in League One, scored 3 goals. And people slag off Norwood. He's exactly the same. Really good League Two striker, came up to League One. And arguably, Norwood's got a far better goal scoring record than Mullin at League One. So, what are we going to end up with another James Norwood?
See, jokingly, Michael Finch says Lionel Messi's out of contract, but he's 33. So, Mike Brown's world, he'd say no because 33 is too old. No, but he would, right? Because
far too old.
Far too old. Let's get the Hogman and let's bring back Tay Butcher. That's what Mike Brown would say. It's true. The biggest knock on Waghorn that the fisherman's got is his age. And 31's not old. I tell you what I'd do, TJ. You ship Norwood off to Scotland or whoever wants him. and then you bring in Waghorn. Simple as that. That's what I would do. That's me, done and dusted. Not as a that's our business done and dusted, but as in I would rather have Waghorn than Norwood. What about you?
I wouldn't. I'd give Norwood his last season in his contract and see how he does. And I think he's got a lot to prove to himself as well. He's been a bit of an arse at times, but I still think he's the best striker we've got at the club. And I'd rather have both than one of them, really. I think what you said about Waghorn playing behind Norwood probably could be tempting. It's just I don't know whether he'd be kind of stuck on the wing trying to put balls in like he can do, or whether he'll just be confined to set pieces if he were to sign. So I just don't know what Cook's looking for in that front three. It just seems it might need to be a bit more dynamic. But I would definitely keep Norwood at the two if I had to.
Thoughts on the Sheeran deal before we come on to something else there? Adam, what did you make of that?
I think it's brilliant. I think it's really good for the club. I mean, it's an absolute masterstroke from a commercial standpoint, isn't it, really? I mean, I think it was like, I was looking this morning, 1.3 million likes on his Instagram page, that picture of him in the 98 Ipswich kit as a kid. You know, hats off to the guys behind the scenes at the club that have put this together, because it's really good. And again, you don't have to like his music to appreciate that it's a decent deal. You know, we're not going to be sponsored by a shitey gambling company or an online casino or some Chinese gambling site. He's a local lad, done good, arguably the biggest pop star in the world. It's different. I think the logo looks pretty cool. And if the kits look like that Kit Factor lad mocked up on Twitter, then, you know, I'd probably buy all three, to be fair. So they'll sell an absolute ton of shirts. And if anybody at the club is watching, get Elkin Baggett to do your kit reveal, and your sales will go through the roof.
Yeah. What about yourself, CJ? What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, like when the club were asking, or like journalists were asking, who do you want to sponsor? People saying like Adnams and stuff like that. We've had Green King, we've had Radio Orwell. If you want local, we've got one of the most recognisable local people you could get in the whole world. So it's brilliant. I think I saw on Twitter as well that our Instagram account went up 2,000 followers just in a few hours after that was announced. So commercially, it makes an incredible amount of sense. We'll get more revenue from it. And I think it's just a good local thing for us as well. So it's only 1 year. We'll see how it goes. It's better than a gambling company, like Adam was saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually thought it was a bit more than 100,000 in the end. But you're right. Even if, you know, I thought it was on like 500,000 in the end. But if you do really basic level math and just say, well, 10% of who's liked the new account buys a shirt, 38 quid each, you could be talking an awful lot of money put back into the football club just off the fact that men and women that like Ed Sheeran, and you know how some fans can get about their pop stars, are going to buy a shirt because it's got the logo on it or whatever.
They need to start flogging. If they start flogging shirts in Phoenix with Ed Sheeran's face and logo plastered all over the place, license to print money, Martin.
It is, and obviously, as you said earlier with Adam, with the turnover thing, it's huge.
Yeah,
yeah.
You know, because you put in
his
money.
Spotify account, he gets 50 million monthly listeners. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. So it just makes absolute sense. And I think we're on BBC Breakfast this morning, Ipswich. The commercial director was on. It's like chatting to the host. It's like, we're on the news. It's great. It's for good reasons as well. So perfect.
Yeah, it really is. Right, we're halfway through, TJ. All right, we'll get you back to the beer soon. Don't worry.
Absolutely no rush at all, mate. I will have to.
We're flying through it. We're flying through it just for you, because I don't want you to go too thirsty on us. Right. Group D of worst transfer fees signed players in the Evans era. We have had some humdingers. We have had Chopra go through. We have had Paul Taylor go through. Last week it was Edwards versus Lee Martin, and Lee Martin went through a canter. This week it is John Nolan versus. Let me just check this. I might get it right. And then he missed the target quite often. It was quite funny because he did the same. Tamas Priskin. So Priskin versus Nolan. Who for you, Adam, was the worst?
I don't think there's any doubt here. I think it's John Nolan. I think he wins it an absolute country mile. And the reason he wins it for a country mile, Martin, is because this football club, for donkey's years, pretty much since Marcus Evans walked into the building, has failed to win any big games at all. You think about the playoff season side, they didn't win any of those big games, the ones on Sky. They lost the playoff games, didn't they, to Norwich? And then since then, they've not turned up in any cup competition or any big league games. The one game that we won that meant something was the 1-0 win against Arsenal in the semi-final of the League Cup. Thomas Priskin scored that goal. So his contribution is stratosphere higher than John Nolan. So that's why John Nolan is in the bin for me.
Right. Okay. I'm a bit surprised at that. I thought I'd be the person that would maybe slam in John Nolan. TJ, Thomas Priskin, 5 goals in 51 appearances following a £1.5 million move. That should be a warning, shouldn't it? You know, like you get the cigarette packet warnings. Shouldn't this be the warning about spending money? Like, that's what can happen if you go for a Mullin type player who's just had a really good year. Priskin had a really good year at Watford, turned up £1.5 million later and scored 5 goals.
Well, that's Clegg for you. Right, Roy Keane couldn't believe it when he heard the fee. He said that in his book, didn't he? He's like, you spent 1.7 million on this, but it's like
on this. I can hear him. I can hear him say it though.
Yeah,
to his face.
Yeah, nonsense. Yeah, but it goes back to what Flatty said. It's that goal against Arsenal. I'm, like I said before on some of these pods, I'm 28. That is one of the best moments I have ever had. So I can't put Priskin in the bin over Nolan, who is just basically Rick Astley in a football shirt. And yeah, all he does is get sent off. That's pretty much all he does. I don't know what else he contributes. So that's it.
Oh, Elliot Leader prepared to get pelters, but he thinks that had he been available the last couple of weeks, it'd have made a difference in all these games.
Yeah,
Fair
this
point.
is League One though, Martin. This is League One centre midfielder. I think that's probably what Elliot's point is. I'm like, Thomas Priskin's goal is against, a pretty flaky Arsenal team. And look, yeah, Crunch is right. His goal scoring record is turgid, but he gave us probably the best night supporting Ipswich that we've had for a long time. I'd like someone else to come and tell me any other game in the last however many years where we've had the same feeling. Because I don't think we've had it, really. Haven't beaten Norwich, have we, in any of that time?
Paul Anderson?
Where was 1-1, Martin? And apart from that goal, no one else remembers that game because it was absolute dog.
Which is quite funny because one of the things Parking's absolutely dog shit. So that's quite.
I'm not saying Thomas Priskin is was a great player, but I'm just thinking if you're comparing the two, then in terms of contribution, I think Thomas Priskin, just for that goal alone, is better than John Nolan.
So John Nolan, and you're both saying John Nolan, which means John Nolan goes through to the next round to face off against Paul Taylor, Lee Martin, and Michael Chopra. What a group! What a tournament!
That's like that question. It's like that question when someone asks if you could invite 4 people round for dinner. Any people in history, they're the 4 people you'd invite round: Paul Taylor, John Nolan, Lee Martin, and Michael Chopra.
What a dinner party! I don't know what that time would be. That would be something.
Horrendous, wouldn't it?
What did the chat think? Can the chat, before I do anoint John Nolan, or Priskin Nolan, what did the chat think? Chat, let me know. Is it John Nolan going through, or are you going to try and bring it back round? Because I'll vote Priskin. I'll put it there. I think Priskin, 5 goals, 51 appearances, 1.7 million. Makes Sam Parkin look like the next Lionel Messi. But I'm old enough to appreciate that, I guess. Whereas obviously TJ isn't, and neither are you, obviously, Adam. Cruncher, I'll be kind. Chapler, Watford, Elliot Leader. I just think we are screaming out for a centre midfielder that can score scrappy goals. Ben Moore, Nolan, like Nord, had one fluky season at Shrewsbury and we signed him. I'd rather have John Parkin than Priskin. John Parkin, what a player. Priskin says Bald and Blue. Priskin says Cruncher. Priskin says David Eaton. Priskin says J.I. Or is some Priskin love, or not love in this case, coming through. Let's see what John Nolan can stay in there. How about free on loan players? I asked you both to bring one to the party. Just to give you a recap, we've had Ibrahim Asonko mentioned, Jonathan Douglas mentioned, we had Giles Coke mentioned. Funnily enough, he's got more mentions in this podcast than he had 10 appearances. But there we go. How about yourself, TJ? Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah. For me, it's either Ingemarson.
Oh,
Remember, he came from Reading, and we thought, oh, we've got an absolute solid lump at the back here. Just what did he play? 5 games, less than 10 games. He just crocked. Bless him.
He was something. I don't know about Crocs, but I do remember a great memory of mine. Ivor Ingemarson. He's at home. The ball's coming out of the air, and he goes to head it, and the ball bounces in front of him, and it's just like, what have we got? What have we got here? Where's Ivor Ingemarson gone? Because this is not him.
How much has he had the night before?
You must remember him, Flatty. What do you remember of Ivor?
Do you know what? There's that sort of Paul Jewell period is sort of, it's just very sketchy in my mind. I've tried to sort of block it out of my head. The Paul Jewell's mercenary era. He wasn't very good, was he? I think didn't we beat like Bristol City on the first game of the season? And I think he played at the back with Sonko. And I think we're thinking, crikey, here we go. 100 points, 100 goals. And then suddenly, I think we started to see the real Ivor Ingemarson come into the fore and then realised, there's a good reason I think Reading got shot.
Yeah, there is. He retired after he left us, to the absolute surprise of nobody. 8 appearances he made. 8. I don't remember him making 8 minutes, let alone 8 appearances. God. Back to Nolan versus Priskin, the competition we all wanted, but never thought we'd get. It's a draw. I'm going to call it a draw, and as Lewis Robinson suggests, we put them both through. So
that's the compromise.
We'll put them both through and see if they can take on. I might do a live draw and see if they can, Taylor's facing Chopra away.
Oh man.
What a time. Ipswich Jules, Maitland Niles and his mum telling Mick to pick her son. Ben Moore is right, the latter years. Sounds like a shit movie. Sylvani Base Blake says, look, Mullen Harewood says Mike D. For worst miss ever at Portman Road. How about yourself, Adam? What name are you bringing to this pity party?
This is a bit of a left field one here, and I think this sums up sort of peak Ipswich for signing players. Jack Collison.
Oh.
So that's a left field one, isn't it?
So very left field.
The reason I picked it, and I felt a bit bad picking him because I read up about him, and he's had a bit of tragedy in his life. And I think you remember that Millwall West Ham Cup game that was mental, where it was a riot, when the Upton Park riot, 2009. I think his dad had died like 2 days prior in a motorcycle accident, and he went and played. I think he scored the winner. So I think he was a good player, but he was so riddled with injuries. If you just look at the amount of appearances that he made from like 2007 to whenever he retired, it is a shame. But typical Ipswich, we signed him in September, and I think we gave him a short-term deal, and then we ended up letting him go in December without playing any games because he was riddled with injury. And I just think that's peak Ipswich, really. He signed someone who's so badly injured. I don't know what Mick McCarthy was expecting, but yeah, that's a left field one. I did, closely followed by Cameron Stewart. Do you remember him?
Oh yes, well yeah, I do remember him. I'm just looking at Jack Collison still, and I'm just thinking, compared to Giles Coke compared to Jack is like a seasoned vet, like 10 appearances for Town compared to Jack 0.
Nuts, isn't it?
Give Giles Coke a testimonial based on that list. It's crazy, but you are right, because he was a good player. When he was fit, he just could never stay fit. And Cameron Stewart is your second one there. Well,
yeah, because
Cameron Stewart?
Why Cameron Stewart? So I think he'd been at Manchester United as a youngster. Had done quite well at Hull, I think. Played like 30 odd games in the Championship, and then just came and never played. Mick never played him. He was on the bench. I think he might have played the odd cup game. But again, something else that's incredibly sad. I looked at him. It looks like he retired at 30. His last club was Lincoln, I think, in 17-18, which was Mick's last season. So either he's a free agent that no one signed, or he's just packed it in. It's crazy.
Got a contract, TJ, sorry, off tearing Luke Chambers a new one at Leeds away.
I don't remember that, but I'm not going to disprove it. I'm sure it happened.
I bet Luke Chambers does, trust me. I mean, Luke Chambers at right back. I think he gave a penalty, didn't he? Yeah, he certainly made Cameron Stewart look world class.
Can I put a backup in as well?
Of course you can.
Zeki Friars.
Oh, for fuck. Oh, I watched him at Huddersfield. Was he the one at Huddersfield away where he slips and gives old Naki Wells his at the opening goal? We never recovered. That's the game Mick McCarthy played Reg Varley, and it might have been Chris Wood up front and dropped Daryl Murphy. I was fuming up. That was bang on the month. You brought back some PTSD here, son. That is not a great fixture. Zeke Fries. Why Zeke Fries?
Why not? I mean, that's the only answer to that question.
True.
It's horrific. Like, just so many mistakes. And still, I just remember it to this day. I'm like, how on earth did he play for us? But there we go. Just stands out.
I'll tell you, if you go on, there's a website called Transfermarkt. I think it's like a German website, but it's got absolutely loads of information on there, and you can look at transfers, and you can go right back. It goes right back to about 2009. Freddie Vaselli was on there. I remember. Do you remember him?
Oh, yeah. The Man City.
He was
Man
playing against
United.
England.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, played for Man City, then signed for Man United, and we're thinking we've got one here. And I went to Stevenage to watch him in the cup, and he was utter dog shit. I only played one game, and then I was looking at his career and saw that he'd played like 18 games for Empoli in Serie A in 17-18. Thinking, what do we know? Hey,
he was playing against England the other night.
Albania, wasn't it?
Yeah, crazy. You know what? Naki Wells, Bristol City. I'd take him if we could get hold of him next season.
Yeah, he's a decent striker at Championship level, isn't he?
Now? He seems he's been around for ages.
Ooh, I tell you what, he is 30. Now that's a 30-year-old I could get behind. You know, if you're going to bring a senior pro in, that's the player I could certainly get behind. But he scored 15 goals this year. No, he hasn't. It's 15 and 62. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm just waiting for the meltdown when the first player that's signed doesn't tick everyone's boxes and everyone's just giving him shit before he's even played. Yeah, when it's like
welcome to it,
38-year-old centre half who's contemplated retirement 3 times. And yeah, absolutely. Leon Best says Rob Scott. Oh, there's so many, and we will go through them as the weeks go through. Oh, what a couple of suggestions there. Right, there is a game this weekend. It's the last home game of the season. I saw a little bit of fantastic. It is, of course, election time, and I saw some absolutely first class PR spin, if you like. Cook aiming to maintain unbeaten home record.
Yeah.
Let that speak for itself. Let that marinate for a moment. Is it unbeaten? How many of those have you won, Paul? Are we going to win this weekend, TJ? And is he going to keep his unbeaten Portman Road record?
He'll probably keep it because it's 0-0. That's all I'm thinking. To be honest.
If you draw a game, you don't get beat. I see the cookie logic.
Science.
Someone needs to place that gif with Cookie's face.
Yeah, just put Cook doing that.
Adam, about yourself. Do you think we're going to get a win this weekend?
I don't think it matters, Martin, anymore. I really don't. I'm sorry to say. I just think, just get like 3 o'clock Sunday. Just get it done. You know, I just don't. You know, is there a game that anybody gives less of a shit about than Sunday? It's just a sad state of affairs, but it's coming to an end. It would be nice to see Norwood get to double figures, I suppose, if he can. But that would involve scoring, I think, 2 goals, possibly. So. Can you see it? I don't know. No idea. I just don't care anymore. I don't care about this group of players anymore, Martin. I'm just waiting for the final whistle to go and then Paul Cook to get them all in his office on Monday. And it starts Monday. It starts when we wake up on Monday morning. It's when it starts. That is we can forget about the Marcus Evans era, because I think Mike was right about what he said the other night in terms of there's this Marcus Evans stink still hanging over the place at the moment. And I think Monday morning, it's gone. It ends. And as you start checking your phone and you start to see those notifications come through where someone else has been released, someone else has gone, he's gone, such and such is gone, and it starts. I mean, the game on Sunday is just a minor irrelevance to what's going to happen now. But I suppose we have to go through the motions. But throw some kids in is what I'd say.
Yeah,
try and score some goals.
Yeah, Carrots JC, can't wait for them to win the last minute, the shithouse long throw. Lewis, imagine the scene we draw the first game of next season, 0-0. Oh no, don't be saying that. Don't be saying that.
Cook out.
I mean, he is right though, isn't he, TJ? It is an irrelevance, and Monday, it's firing Monday, as we'll call it. Who's first out the door for you? Who are you calling the taxi for first? Hawk Express.
Hawk Express cabs.
Don't get stuck on the corner. Hawk Express.
If you want to walk, phone Hawk.
I think Chambers for me.
Chambers.
I think his captaincy just kind of sums up our demise. Like, again, it seems like a few of them might go to Colchester. It's easy. It's down the road, and I wish him all the luck in the world, but it's not happening for us. And just get out the door, please.
That comment, brilliant.
Owen, there's a rumour going around that the only reason we got rid of Ward is because he wouldn't have been able to complete the lap of honour after the game. Yeah, no one's surprised that the Golden Bombers left. His greatest moment came with Brynner Woolley's commentary. Ward bombing down the wing. I think he's bombed down the wing since like 1998. Adam, who was first out the door for you? I mean, TJ says there about Colchester being the unlucky recipients of Skews, Sears, and Chambers. If that's the competition prize, you don't want to win it.
I asked my mate who does the Col United Views on the Hughes podcast, and I said to him about, do you fancy Chambers, Sears and Skews? And he couldn't have been any more angry if I'd have. I mean, I could have gone in and punched him square in the face, and I don't think he'd have been even less angry. The thought of Chambers, Skews and Sears going to Colchester, I don't think he's filling them with a lot of excitement, put it this way. So there we go. First out the door, I don't know. I think Chambers, I have to agree. I think it would be a bit of a statement as well from Cook and the new era. I think if Chambers was the first one to be announced that he wouldn't be offered a new deal, I think it would be a big move on the club's part. But him, Cruncher's right, Edwards, I think if he went, I don't think many people would shed any tears. Drinan, I think maybe, or Hawkins, I think for me. Yeah, maybe both of them like a double header at the same time.
I only had these all year. He'd probably miss. I think you are right, Adam. Statement that would be. Chambers would be a statement. Skews. I mean, I don't know why there's any surprise over Skews. Like, he came back like Lazarus, and then he disappeared again. Like,
we played in that Fleetwood game, didn't he? And it was, I mean, no one covered themselves in glory in that night, but he was particularly bad, wasn't he, in that game?
When he fell over in the middle of the park, that just summed it up that night.
Yeah, really did. Harry Butcher, but Drinan's world class. Certainly isn't. Jason Clayton, Hawkins are in holding hands. Yeah, I think you good point there, Adam, with regards to Chambers first out the door statement. That's what you can really do for me, Cookie. That's when I'd really be starts one over. When you make a move like that, if we keep hold of Chambers, I'll have another question mark over Cookie for me. I know many people are saying, this squad's not good enough. You can't hold it against him. Blah blah blah. And they're right. It's not. We shouldn't. But Chambers, TJ, that'd be a real statement move.
Yeah, I think that's what we need. It needs to be the first thing we hear on Monday is this is change and it's going to happen the first thing. I assume they're just going to chuck them all on a list and put it on the website and that'll be it. I hope. We don't need like a reveal every day of the next person leaving the door.
Oh, I don't know. That's content. That is. Yeah.
Ugh.
Like stars in your eyes used to when they used to walk through the door with the smoke coming out and turn round and wave to the camera, and then we just don't ever see them again.
Yeah. Tonight, Matthew, I will be released.
Unemployed.
Redundant.
Oh, bless them. Jason Clayton, are you having a live show? Not yet. Well, we'll be doing something. There's the Monday show, obviously, Talking Town Extra Time. I'm just fearful if I do a live show for every release, I could be here for a long time, hopefully. Don't get me wrong, probably all really nice fellas, given what they would class as their rule, it's just not been good enough. And, 10th, 11th place, wherever we're going to finish in League One, shows that.
I think that's a good point you make, Martin, because I don't know if anybody's seen James Norwood's comments about, they asked him about social media and things like that. And I think it is important that we all remember that they are humans and they're not particularly good footballers. We can slag them off for being poor footballers, but do I wish any of them ill? No, I hope they all go on and have half decent careers wherever they go next, but they just haven't worked out for Ipswich. But, there'll be no malice from me. There'll be no good riddance, F off, see you later. See you later, lads. It hasn't worked. New era. Out you go.
Yeah. My nan, bless her, she said earlier, you won't be too hard on them, will you? Because you might want to have a few of them on your show in the coming years. I said, I promise you one person, as long as I've got a hole in my arse, he's not going to my show. That's brilliant. You're coming in near my microphone. So I'm going to, but yeah, bless him, TJ.
Bless him. We'll see what happens on Monday, won't we?
We will. First out the door for me. Chambers and Skew, obviously, but Freddie Sears, it's just you've got to. That's a given. That's too easy. Mate. That's too easy. I tell you what, real statement of intent for me would be someone like Thomas Holy or Di Cornell being told that they're going to pay off the last year of their deal and they're free to find employment elsewhere. That'd be a real sort of statement of it's not been good enough. Because when players are on the contract, it's a bit easy to sort of sit back and say they're under a deal. And I've been dead against paying people off, but maybe the fan base need to see that it's not as it used to be. I don't know. I'm not quite sure where they are.
Do you think a bigger statement could be Jackson, given that we have the option on his year, that we say,
I
no,
thought that.
we don't care about the money. You're just not right for this club. Get out.
Yeah, I thought
we don't want you around the place.
But then I thought about his sell-on value, and I thought we ain't got none. So,
yeah, I mean, there's no point quibbling. Yeah,
we should have sold him last year. Evans would have profited off that one. But yeah, I don't know. Is there any left field ones there, Adam, for you, where you're like, well, I don't know.
So now would Bishop be a left field one if they let him go? Bearing in mind, a lot of people seem to think he's already been offered a deal. If you listen to people in the know or whatever on Twitter, and they seem to think he's been offered a deal. So I don't know. Would he be a left field one? Andre Dazelle. Imagine he had his contract paid up and was out the door.
Now
that would be a left field one.
That would be huge. And I don't think it'd be the right move.
No.
But it would be huge.
I don't think that will happen with Dazelle, but. Well, another left field one is if he just released everyone and it was just Cook left standing on the training ground on his own, just in the middle of the pitch, just no one else around him. All the staff have gone as well, just everyone out of Planet Blue, you name it, everyone's gone. It's just
Gary
Cook
Roberts, is it college badges?
Yes.
Just gone, out the door.
Jason Clayton thinks it'd be huge if we got Nord and Cruncher on the same show. Massive. I don't know if Cruncher would do that one. To be honest with you, I think he plays it big behind a keyboard, but can he front it out? I'm not sure. There he goes. Look, bring him on, Jason. I'd put him to bed. Is he allowed to go to bed? Is he, Cruncher? Is that part of your allowed players to do? Right. Okay. I hope they have a good meal out at the weekend. Right, Dave Eaton. How much wages will bring in Chambers, Skuse, and Sears free up? Loads, probably. I don't know. But look, we're done. It's an hour in. TJ, we're not going to. I said we won't keep you longer than an hour. Get you back to those beers, son. What are we drinking this evening?
Rum and Coke.
Rum and Coke.
What we got? Aged Caribbean rum.
Suits you, sir. Adam, what would you be having a drink round? Rum and Coke for you?
I don't know. I'll tell you, Adnams do a nice lager. Cobalt, it's called. Decent. I was having some of that last week. That was nice, but there's no alcohol in this house. I think tea's probably the best it's going to get tonight. So
No one's come around your ass then, Adam.
rock and roll
Yeah.
lifestyle here at Flat Towers.
Yeah, more like rock and roll. Right, we're back on Sunday for the match day ticket, and we're partnering up with Suffolk Mind. It's the Suffolk Mind virtual takeover. Looking forward to having their CEO John Neal on the show with us. It'll be myself, Matt Phillips, and Kate Riley making her debut on a match day ticket. Save the best till last, obviously. And then on Monday we're back with what we hope to be the start of a major operation, and that operation is to get Ipswich Town back moving again and make room for Martin Waghorn. But that's another comment. That's another show. TJ, Adam, thank you all ever so much. Thank you to the live chat, and we'll see you Sunday 11:30 because it's a midday kickoff. So 11:30, but with love, with care. Adios.